Hello everyone, can you hear me? Hello, can you write it in the chat box, guys? Am I audible or not? Okay, so yeah, so let's start everyone. So, hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing good. So, a brief introduction about myself first. Who am I and what we are going to do today? So, I'm currently a finalist at NSUT. I have full time offer from Google India. I will be joining Google Office next year. I have been doing competitive programming for more than 2 years now. I'm ranked among top 300 Indians on Code Forces. And today we are basically going to learn the basics, the fundamentals of the arrays. That how we can implement, how we can use the arrays in a Java, and how we can solve some problems. We'll also be coding some basic problems around the arrays. We'll be seeing the whole concept behind the arrays and some problems behind it. So I hope all of you are excited. So yeah, I think we should start now. Okay. So guys, let us first see why do we need a array. So all of you must be knowing that we have this variables in a language, right? So we can store anything in a variable. We can make an integer variable. Let's suppose I have made an integer variable x. Okay. So I can store a value 10 into that, right? But let us suppose I want to store 100 values, right? I want to store 100 values. So for that case, I'll have to make 100 variables, right? I'll have to make 100 variables in that case. But handling 100 variables, it will not be a possible option for me, right? I cannot manage 100 variables, taking input in them and printing them, right? So a easy way to do is to use a array. So array is a collection of homogeneous values. Now, what this homogeneous means is they have to be of the same data type. Either they can be integer, character, boolean, or a float, or long, basically any data type, any primitive data type which we have, right? So array is a collection of homogeneous values. Now, how do we make a array, right? Let us see the syntax behind it. So the syntax behind it is you'll be start coding in your main function, right? This is the main function which we'll be having, right? Here, first what we will make is we'll write int bracket arr equal to null. Now, what this statement does is this int tells me what is the type of array I want to create. This bracket tells me I'm going to create an array. So to initialize my array, I'll write int bracket array name. This is the name of my variable. Okay. So I want to make an array of type int and the name of it is arr. Now let us suppose I want to allocate a array of length 5. I want to store 5 elements. So what now I'll write it after this line. I'll write arr equal to new int and the size of my array. So let us first see the stack diagram. Okay, the memory diagram. So guys, we have two types of memory. We have a stack memory and we have a heap memory. So when we have written int bracket array name equal to null, in my stack a variable arr will be created and it will be initialized with null. Now, now when in the next line you have written this arr equal to new int 5, what this new keyword does is it allocates memory in the heap. And this is the size of my array, the size which I want to allocate. So what will happen is in my memory, in my heap memory, I'll have this array created of length 5. Okay, let us suppose the address of this was 4000. See, I'm allocating the space for 5 integers. I'm making an array of size 5, right? One integer takes 5 bytes. 4 bytes, sorry. One integer takes 4 bytes. So let us suppose the starting of this array is at the address 4k. So the next element will be stored at 4k plus 4 address. The next element will be at 4k plus 8 address. So what this new keyword will do is it will create an array of size 5 because you've mentioned the size is 5, and it will return the base address which is 4k. So now in my stack my array will update it from null to 4k. Is this thing clear, everyone? Right, we have made an array of size 5, right? In my stack memory there is the array name which was initially initialized with null. Then using the new keyword I created an array of size 5. The addresses of it will be, let us suppose the base address was 4k, so the address for the next element will be 4k plus 4. The address for the other element will be 4k plus 8. Similarly 4k plus 18 and 4k plus 16. And in my stack memory there will be the base address, the 4k in my array variable. So we have made an array of size 5, right? So there is this thing called indexing. The first element of my array is at array 0, the 0th index. This is my first index. This is my second index, third index, and fourth index. In array, the indexes start from 0 to size minus 1. I'll say this is my 0th element of the array. This is my first element of the array. Similarly, second, third, and fourth. So this is the indexing of my array. So we have a property of the array called array.length. If you print this array.length, this is so basically system.out.println. So if I will print array.length, so I'll get the output as 5 in our case because we have allocated the space of array of size 5, right? So this was the indexing. Now let us suppose I want to update elements in my array. So till now what we got is we had an array of size 5, right? So our base address, let us suppose it is 4k. So at 4k memory, an integer is stored at 4k plus 4. Another integer is stored. Similarly for 4k plus 8, 4k plus 12, and 4k plus 16, right? By default, the array is initialized with value 0. And name of my array is ARR, which is storing the base reference of this array, right? So let us suppose now I want to update the elements of my array. In my 0th index, I want to put 20. So how I will do is, I'll write array 0 equal to, let us suppose I want to put 10 here in the 0th index. This is my 0th index, 0th element of the array. This is the first element of my array. This is the second element, right? So what I will do is I'll write ARR 0 equal to 10. Now what this statement will does is, see, first this ARR, it contains the base address which is 4k, right? This is the ith index which you want to access. So what Java internally will do is it will calculate 4k plus 0, the index we are accessing, into 4. 4 is the size of your one int variable, which is 4 in our case, right? So now this is 4k, right? So it will go on this address, it will update this element to 10. Okay. Now let us suppose you want to change the second element. So what you have to write is you'll write array 2 equal to 30. So how internally this will happen is 4k is your base address, 4k is the address which ARR is storing. We're accessing the second element. So what you will do is, so internally the Java will calculate 2 into 4, which is 4k plus 8, right? So it will go on this address 4k plus 8 and it will update this value from 0, it will update it to 30. So now we know how to update values in our array, right? Now let us see how we will get values in our array. Let us suppose I want to get the value which is present at the second index, right? So what I will write is I'll write print array 2. So in this way, I will be printing the second element of my array. Internally, again, Java will perform the same calculation. It will start with 4k, it will add 2 into 4 into it, it will go on this address and it will print the element which is present at this address. right? And this is a order one operation. This calculation is happening every time. This is a constant calculation. It will take constant time. So which is order one? Basically, if you have an input, let us suppose you made an array of size 100 or you made an array of size 1000, right? To access an element, you always need to do this. And this calculation will take constant time. It will not depend on the size of your array. Is this thing clear, everyone? Right? So this ARR, this is the reference. It stores the base address of my array created in my heap memory. Is this thing clear, guys? So let us move towards the coding part. Let us try to implement the array. Okay. So I am using the IntelliJ IDE. If you want, you can also use the online IDE if you don't have the IDE installed. So maybe you can use the JDoodle or online GDB. These are some online compilers which you can use to code. Okay. Here I will be using the IntelliJ. So this is our main function. Okay. Now what I have to do is I have to create an array. Okay. Let us also print this ARR. Now let us initialize this array and then again print this array name. Now let us see the output of it. See, the output which we got was initially it printed null, then it printed this something, right? So this is actually the address of your array. So initially this contains a bracket. So this denotes this is a array. This is the address of a array, and here I is written. So this denotes this is an array of integer. So this is my array address, right? Now let us print the array elements. We have not updated the array values. So initially all of them will be having 0, right? Let us run this code. So it printed 5 zeros, which is expected because by default array contains value 0. So now let us update the values of my array. So how I will update is first I'll write the array name, then I'll make a square bracket. Inside that I'll write the index of the array which I want to update. So let us suppose I want to create an array of 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So in my array 0, I'll store 10. In my array 1, I will store 20. Similarly, for the other values, I'll be storing 30, 40, and 50. Now let us again print all the array values. Let us try to run this time now. So see, initially all five zeros were present, right? Now I have updated all my array values. Now I am printing 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, right? So these were the three operations of my array. The get values update, right? So we started with this. What is an array? It is a homogeneous collection of homogeneous values, right? We declared a array of integer type, right? We saw the syntax of it. This is the syntax of creating an array. Int square bracket array will initialize start it with null. So initially it will be having the null, right? Then I'll use the new keyword to create the array in my heap memory, right? This int tells me this is the array of integer type. This bracket tells me this is a array, right? I'll allocate all the blocks for the array in my heap memory, and in my stack memory the array is a reference for this array made in heap memory. This is storing the address 4k, like we saw it here. This is the address which the arr is storing, right? Then we saw the indexing of the array. So the array indexing starts with 0. The first element of our array is the 0th element. So the indexing basically goes from 0 till array dot length minus 1. So let us suppose I have an array of size 5. So it will be 0, it will be 1, it will be 2, it will be 3, then this will be 4. Array arr dot length minus 1, right? So now we have printed the array using the print statements, right? But if you declare an array of size 100, so you cannot write 100 print statements, right? So for in that case, we can use a for loop. Now, how we can print using a for loop is initialize my array. My starting index is 0, right? And my ending index is arr dot length, right? I'll increase my I and I'll print every element. So let me comment this down. So now this code will not work. The upper print statements, okay. So only this for loop will run now, okay. So let us try to see what is the output. So this is the output which we got, right? So I have printed all my array elements, right, using these three lines only. Now even if we make a array of size 100,000 any value, I'll not have to write these print statements every time. I can directly run a for loop. In my for loop the indexing will start from the 0th index, and what is the last index of my array? It is arr.length minus 1, right? So what is happening is I initialize the for loop, right? In my for loop, my I started from 0, right? what is my arrow root length? In my case, it is 5, right? So I've written a statement while I is less than arrow dot length. So while I is less than 5, I will print my array I. So first I'll print array 0, which is 10, then my array 1, 20, then 30, 40, and 50, right? We can also print it backwards. To print it backwards, I'll initialize my I with fourth index and run my loop till 0. In this way, I will print the fourth index element first. So my 50 will be get it printed first. Then I'll print array 3, which is 40. Then the other elements. Let us implement that also. So why I have initialized my I with array.length minus 1 is my array.length, it contains 5, right? My array is of length 5, but my indexing in the array is from 0, right? So the last index is my fourth element, right? The last index is my fourth element, right? So I'll start my loop from 4. First I'll print array 4, then array 3, array 2, array 1, and then array 0. Let us run this code. Yeah. So see guys, first we printed this 10 to 50, the upper for loop, right? And then this bottom for loop, it is printing 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. I'm iterating on my array from backwards, right? Is this thing clear, guys? I'm reading the comments. Do you guys have any doubt till here? Yeah, to declare an array, you need to know the size of the array beforehand. Because when we are declaring it in our heap memory, we are writing the size of the array. So that is why. If the size is unknown, then we use the array list. Is this thing clear, everyone? Should we move forward? Right. Let us see some basic problems from the portal. Okay, the AccioJob portal which we have. Let us solve some basic problems for the arrays first. Okay, then we will discuss the rest theory which is left. Okay. So this is the problem which we have, right? You have to write a program to find sum of all elements which are present inside the array. So you'll be given the input as first you'll be given the size of the size of the array, and then you'll be given the elements, and then you have to print the sum of it. So what we will do for this is we'll first create a variable which will store the size of my array, right? Then I'll create a array of size n, right? I'll create an array of size n, right? Then I will take input in that. I'll take input in my array I, okay, and then I'll calculate the sum of it using a for loop, which we have just saw, right? So it is just declaring the array, taking the input, and calculating the sum. Okay, we'll come back to this problem again. Okay, let us first complete the rest of the theory. Okay, yeah. So, like, guys, are you able to follow up till here? Are you able to understand what is happening? Just give me a minute, guys. My pencil got somewhere. Let me find it out where it is. Let us have a quick 2 minutes break. Okay, I'll rejoin in 2 minutes. Till then, you can follow this whatever we have done till here. So, like, let me read the comments. So micro is asking why for normal it was array dot length and for reverse it is minus I. Okay. So micro, so initially my I was 0, right? Then I'm incrementing my I by 1 every time, right? Then my index is 1, then my index is 2, then my index is 3, right? I'm first printing the index 0 element, then the first index element, and then the second index element. Whereas when I have to print the reverse array, I'll first print the last one, then the second last. So my last index is my 4, ARR dot length minus 1. Then my second last index is ARR dot length minus 2, which is 3, right? So that is why we are decrementing the count every time. Initially we were on this 4, right? And then we move from this 4 to 3, then from 3 to 2, then 1, and then 0. That is why for reversing every time I am doing minus minus I. That first print this element at fourth index, then print this element at third index. Similarly for second, first, and zeroth. Okay. So, guys, let us see some code exercise to understand more about the arrays part. Okay. So I'll write few codes and we'll see what is the output for them so that you have a better understanding for the arrays topic. Okay. So first what I'll do is I'll print let me comment out everything here. Okay, so I've just made a array, and I've updated the index, the values with 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Then I'm taking two indexes. One is 0 and one is 2. I've made two integers. Okay, I'm typing array 0 and array I and array j, right? So the output will be 10 and 30, right? The value presented zeroth index and second index, right? Now I'll create a function swap. Yeah, and I'll pass array I and array j here. Okay, and then I'm again printing my array I and array j. I'll declare this function. We'll have two variables int 1 and 2, which we're calling from the main function, right? Let us swap them. What do you think will be the output of this code? Let us see this again. So what I have done is I've made an array of size 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. These are the elements of my array, right? Then I'm printing my array 0 and array 2, which will be 10 and 30, right? Then I'm calling a function. I'm calling the function swap, right? And then I'm again printing my array I and array j. So what will be the output of this? Will the elements in my array get swapped or not? Right? So let us see the output of it. So they didn't got swapped, right? Earlier also they were 10 and 30. Now also they are 10 and 30 only. So let us see what is happening. Okay, let us see what is happening. Let me take a screenshot of it. So yes, this is the code which you wrote, right? So initially, let us see what is happening internally. Okay. In my stack memory, there is a ARR, right? This is my main, right? Inside my main, I have created a ARR, right? Then there is a heap memory. In my heap, I have made an array of size 5. Then I updated the values with 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, right? Then I have called another function swap, right? So it will be above my main in my stack, right? In my stack, there are two variables 1 and 2, 1, 2, and temp. So 1 initially has 10, the value of array I, and 2 has 30, the value of array j. right? So now what I have done is I've made a temp, right? Inside my temp, I'm writing int temp equal to 1, right? So my temp will contain 10, right? Then what I have done is I have written 1 equal to 2. So let me write it here. The three statements I wrote were int temp equal to 1, 1 equal to 2, 2 equal to temp. So I made a variable 1 and 2 in my function, right? They had the values 10 and 30. Then with this line, I made a temp with value 1, which is 10, right? Then in my 1, I'm updating the value with 2. So now the value will be 30, right? Then I'm doing 2 equal to 10. So now my value of 2 will get updated with the temp value, which is 10, right? So now my 1 is 30 and my 2 is 10, right? Now I'll exit from this function, right? I'll come in my main, but I've never changed my ARR. I've never made any changes in this cell, right? My array and I and array J, they were pointing to this and this cell. I've not made any changes here, right? So they'll still be 10 and 30. Is this thing clear, guys? Why there will be no change? Is this thing clear? So this is a non-performing swap. It is not performing the swap. It is just exchanging the variables 1 and 2, but it is not able to swap my array values, right? So now how can we swap the values of our array? Can anyone think of it? Right? So how we can do is we can make another function swap2. In my swap2, I will be passing ARR ij. So what I will do is I'll make a function swap2. The function has three parameters array I and j. Inside my temp, I'll store the value of array I. I'll update my array I value with array j, and in array j, I'll update temp. So, guys, what do you think will be the output now? So let us comment this non-performing one. Do you think it will swap the values or not? Do you think it will swap the values or not? Right? So let us see the memory diagram behind this code, the swap to one, right? So initially what I had was I had a stack memory and a heap memory, right? In my stack memory, there was a main from where we started our code, right? The main had a array name ARR, right? I had five, an array of size 5 stored in my heap, and my ARR was the reference for it. It was storing the address of this. Let us suppose if it is 4K, right? Then what I did was I made another function swap to, right? Now in my swap to, there is another ARR. Now what this ARR is storing? This is also storing 4K. In my main, I called this with swap to ARR and comma I comma j, right? So the value which was having in this ARR, it will be stored here also, right? So this ARR is having 4K. Now what you will do is inside your temp, you will store the value of ARR I is 0 and j is 2. So temp will be ARR 0 which is 10, right? Then I'll update my array I. Now what is this array I? It will, now we have seen for array I, the Java internally do is it will go on this address. ARR is 4, right? If my I is 0, so it will go on this address 4K, right? And it will update this value. It will update this value with 20, right? And then I'll do ARRJ equal to temp. J is 2 here, right? So what Java will do is it will do ARR plus 2 into 4. ARR is 4K. So this address 4K plus 8. I'll go on this address. I'll update this value with my temp value which is 10. So now I have modified my array. Now in my array, sorry, this was 30, I think. Yeah, this was 30. Yeah. So now in my array, this will be 30, 20, 10, 40, and 50. My original array was this, right? So I have swapped the values of my array of 0th and the second index, right? Is this thing clear to everyone? Is this thing clear to everyone? See, we have run this program. So initially I had 10 30. Now I have 30 10, right? So you need to know the logic behind this. That why in my initial swap it was not working, right? What was happening in my initial swap was I was making two variables, one and two, inside my function, right? Initially in my this swap, I made two variables one and two inside my this swap, right? The scope of this one and two was still here, this function only. So I changed their values. I swapped the values of one and two, but no change was reflected in my array because I didn't modify it. But now in my swap two, this is the address for this array, ARR, right? So now I'm going on this address and I'm modifying the values of my array. right? Is this thing clear, guys? Is this thing clear? Okay, so let us see one more example. We've made another array. So in this way, guys, we can also hard code our array. Like initially, what we used to do was we used to make an array of size, a particular size using new int, right? And then I used to put my values that array 0 equal to this, array 1 equal to this, array 2 equal to this, right? But I can also use this statement. What will happen is a new array 10, 20, 30 will be created in my heap memory, right? And other will have a reference for that array. Okay. Now I'll make another function swap 3. And let us print this. So I'll make this function now the swap 3, and I will print the elements of both the 0th index of both the arrays. Okay. So what do you think, guys? Will my array get swapped or not? Will my array get swapped or not? Right? I've made a function swap 3 and I'm changing the references of 1 and 2, right? So let us see what will happen. So now let us again make the stack and the heap memory. Initially, I had this stack and my heap, right? I had one ARR. I made this, right? Let us suppose this address was 4K. So my array will point to this address, right? I made another array than other, right? Let us suppose the new array was formed at this index, 5K, right? So this is what is present inside my main, right? Then I made a swap 3, right? In my swap 3, what I have done is I have made a base reference temp, right? Temp is equal to 1, right? I have these three things, 1 and 2, right? The 1 also stores 4k and the 2 also stores 5k, right? Due to my function call. So for two arrays, I'm having four references. These two, ARR and other, they were the references in my main function, right? And there are these two references, 1 and 2, inside my swap3 function, right? 1 is also pointing to 4k and 2 is also pointing to 5k, right? Now what will happen is I've made a temp reference, right? This temp will store the value of 1, which is 4k. So temp will have 4k, right? Then I'm writing this 1 equal to 2. So the value of 1 will get updated to 5 now, 5k now, right? So the new array it will point to is this one, right? And my 2 will point towards my temp value, which is 4k, right? So now my 2 will point towards this 4k, right? And then this function will get removed from a stack, right? But I have not changed my ARR and other, right? I swapped my 1 and 2, but I didn't change this ARR and other. My ARR is still referencing to this 4k, and my other is still pointing to this 5k, right? So the values will not get swapped. The arrays will not get swapped. The ARR will still contain 4k and the other will still contain 5k. This swap 3 function, these 1 and 2 got swapped, but it didn't swap these values, ARR and other, right? Is this thing clear, everyone? Whatever we have discussed till now, I'm reading the comments. Like, is everything clear till here? Right? So we have discussed three examples: swap one, swap two, and swap three. Right? Let us quickly summarize all three of them. What we were doing in each one of them. Right? So I made a array, right? The array of size 5. Okay. I initialized the values with 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Then we were printing them. Then we saw how to print it using the for loop, right? Then we saw how to print it using the reverse for loop. And I think someone has the doubt that why we are starting this from array.length minus 1. Okay. So see, the array which I had 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, right? The indexing of it was from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? My ARR dot length, it is 5. The size of my array, it is 5. Okay. Now, what is the index of my last element? It is 4. It is ARR dot length minus 1, right? This is my 0th index first, second, then my last index, which is ARR dot length minus 1, right? So that is why, while reversing, I'm starting my loop from ARR.length minus 1, I'm going till 0. Is this thing clear now? When we create memory in heap and stack. Okay, here, so what we do is You have two memories, a stack memory and a heap memory, right? Whenever you write the statement int bracket arr equal to new int 5, right? Whenever you've written this statement int bracket arr equal to new int 5, so this arr is made in the stack memory, right? This is the main inside my stack, right? So this arr will made here. Initially it is storing null, right? Then using this new keyword I am allocating 5 integer space in the heap memory, and the starting address of it was 4k. So my arr will be storing that address, the 4k one. Okay, so I hope all of these examples, the swap 1, swap 2 and swap 3, are clear, that when the array will get swapped, actually the elements will get swapped actually, right? So now we have seen how to create array of fixed size, right? Now let us suppose my user at runtime wants to tell how many elements are there in the array, right? In these examples, we already knew that my array size was 3, that my array size was 5, right? But what if at runtime my user is telling me that, hey, I want to make an array of size 10? So how can we do that? So how we can do it is, I'll make an integer variable size. I'll take the input from my user. Then I'll create an array. The syntax for creating is, I want to create an array of type int. This bracket will tell me this is an array. The name of my array will be arr. I want to make an array of this size variable, which I'm taking input from the user, right? So in this way, the array will get created, right? So let us also code this. So let me comment out everything first. So I'll just create a function, take input. What this take input function will do is it will take the input for me in an array and will return me an array, arr. So let us quickly make this function. Inside here, I'll declare a variable. Let us suppose write this statement. I'll ask from my user what is the size of your array, right? Then I'll make a variable size. Take the input in it. Let's make the scanner also for this. Then I'll run a for loop. I'll run the for loop for size times. And in my array I, I take the input. I think I didn't create the array. Yeah, we'll create the array also. So what is happening is first I created a variable size, right? I took input in it from the user. I created my array of this size, right? And then using the for loop, I'm taking input in my array, right? So let us try to print the array here. Okay, it is not, this is ARR.length only. Yeah, I have to also return this array which I'm creating. So it is asking what is the size of the array you want to build. So let us suppose I'll write 4 here. So now I'll be typing the elements 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is what it is printed 1, 2, 3, and 4. So how this is working is I'm taking the input in my size variable, I'm declaring a array. Using the for loop, I'm taking element in my every index. I'm taking the input first in the array 0, then array 1, then array 2, right? And then I'm returning this array, right? And then I'm printing this array here. I can also like make a function for it, display ARR, okay? So what this display will do is it will take the array in the input and it will print my array. Yeah, let us try to run this. Yeah, let us write 6 now. So yeah, I took the input from the user, I printed that array, right? So now we know how to take input from the user, right? Now the user can make array of any size which he wants to, right? So we can do this in runtime now. Now I don't know the size beforehand, right? Yep. Shravani, for the certificate, link will come in the comment section 30 minutes before the workshop ends. I think around the 4:30. There you can write your email ID. So we'll send you the certificate at your email. Yeah, like is this thing clear, guys? Whatever we have done till now, right? We saw how to make the array, how to update elements, right? Then we saw some examples for the swap, what is happening actually inside the stack and heap memory. And then we saw how to take the input from the user and how to display it, right? That now we can also take input from the user at runtime, right? So like, are these things clear, everyone? Okay. So like, should we solve some problem now, guys? Some problem on the arrays. Okay. So now let us move towards solving some problem of the arrays. So like, are you able to see my screen, everyone? So this was the first problem which we saw earlier also. Let us see it again now, okay, so that you have a better understanding for it. So you have to write a program to find the sum of all elements, and the input will be given to you in the runtime. You don't know the input beforehand. You have to take the input from the user, right? So let us suppose the user gave this input 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So you will be printing 14 because the sum of this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 is 14, right? So how we can do this is, I'll first create an array, right? This n tells me the size of my array, which I'm taking input from the user, right? Then I'm taking this input from the user, right? Then I'm finding the sum of it using a for loop, right? And then I'm printing the sum. Let us change this in our code also, right? So I've taken the input and printed it, right? Now let us suppose we want to find the sum of it. My first index will be 0 of my array, and the last index of my array is array.length minus 1, which we saw. We'll make a sum variable. In my sum, I will be adding array of I, and then I will be printing my sum. So let us see the output now. Let us suppose I take an array of size 7. So this 28 is the sum which we got. The sum from 1 till this 7, right? So in this way we can calculate the sum of our array, right? Let us suppose I want to find the maximum of my array. What is the value of the maximum element in my array? So how we can do this is, now we have to print this maximum. Let us first try to run this and then we'll see what is happening actually. Let us take the areas 4, 6, 8, 3, 2, 1. So the maximum element which I have is 8, right? And it is printing the 8. So let us see what is actually happening. So I have made an array, right? The array contains some element. The elements are 4, 6, 8, 3, 2, 1. Right? I've initialized my maximum with 4, right? Initially, my maximum is equal to array 0. That is the value present at my 0th index in the array, right? Now what I'm doing is I'm running a for loop from I equal to 1 till I less than arr dot length. What is my array length here? 6, right? I will check if my array I is greater than the maximum for I equal to 1. What is my array I? It is 6, right? My 6 is greater than my maximum, which is 4 right now, right? So I will update my maximum. Now my maximum will become 6, right? Then my I will be 2. Now I will again check if my array I is greater than maximum. What is my array 2? Array 2 is 8. I'll again check if my 8 is greater than maximum. Maximum is 6, right? So I'll update my maximum with 8, right? I now for rest of the other elements, I equal to 3, 4, and 5. Is my array greater than maximum? No, right? So nothing will happen. So my maximum after my for loop is executed, it is 8, right? So I will print 8, right? Is this thing clear, guys? Yes, Dishank. This recording will be available on the YouTube. Okay. So now we have seen how to calculate the sum of my array, the how to calculate the maximum element of my array, right? So let us see some questions. I think we have seen this sum problem, right? How to calculate the sum of the array. Okay. So now this is the another basic problem which you have. So you have to take input from the user in the array and you have to tell how many elements in the array are greater than 20. Okay. So how we will do this is I take the input from my user. I'll run a for loop. I'll maintain a count variable. I'll add a if condition. If my array I is greater than 20, so what I will do is I'll increase my count. Am I audible, guys? Am I audible? Actually, my headphone just got disconnected. Am I audible? Can you confirm in the live chat? Am I audible or not? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chaitanya. Okay, so what we were doing is I want to calculate how many elements of my array are greater than 20. So I will iterate on my whole array. The indexing will be from 0 to arr.length minus 1, right? I'll add a if condition. If my array I is greater than 20, so I'll increase my count variable, right? And in the end, I'll print my count. So let us see the input which we have. So let me run this code first. So the size of the array is 6. Yeah, so the output which is coming is 2, right? This is the sum which we earlier calculated, and this is the 2. Two elements are greater than 20, right? Which are 21 and 81, right? Is this thing clear? Right? So now let us discuss another problem, which is reverse the array. So let us suppose user will give us a input array. So let us suppose the user gave us this input. This is the input which I got. I want my output to be 40, 30, 20 and 10. I want my array to be updated with this value. This is the reversed array, right? 40 is coming first now, then my 30, then 20, and then my 1. So any approach on how we can do this problem? Like, let us take 2 minutes and think for this problem, guys, and tell me what you're able to think of your approaches. Till then, I'll read the comments. Yeah. So, like, can anyone of among you think that how we will reverse this array? Yeah. So, someone is saying iterate for loop in reverse. But see, when we're iterating for loop in reverse, I'm just printing those elements. I'm not making any changes inside my array. I want my final array to get updated with this one. This was the initial array I got. I want the final array to be this one, right? When you're iterating from back, you're just printing the elements, right? Okay, the picture quality is not visible. Okay, so let me turn off my camera then. Yeah, like I hope it will be better now. Or like, is it still not good? Yeah. So how we can do this is I can maintain two pointers. One will be my start and one will be my end, right? My start initially will be 0. My end will be ARR dot length minus 1, right? So what we will do is now I'll swap these two values. Array start and array end. And I'll increase my start and decrease my end. I'll have a while loop for all this. While start is less than end. Let us see what is happening. See, initially my start was 0 for this array, right? And my end was 3, right? Now I'm running a for loop while start is less than end, right? So first I'll swap array 0 and array 3, right? When I'll swap my array 0 and array 3, my array will be this. Initial array was this 10, 20, 30, 40, right? So then my array will be 40 and 10, 40, 20, 30, 10, right? Then I'll increase my start. Now my start will become 1 and end will become 2, right? And then I'll again swap these values. Now my 20 and 30 will get swapped, right? Now my start will get incremented to 2 and end will get decremented to 1. Now because no longer my start is less than end, I'll stop my while loop and I'll have a reversed array, right? So let us see the code first for a better understanding and then we'll again see this, okay? First I'll maintain two pointers. One is the start and one is the end. End is array dot length minus 1. Okay. While my start is less than end, I'll swap these values. To swap we already saw. We'll take a int temp. Int temp will store my value of start. Then I'll update my array start value. Using this array start, I'm updating the value inside my array. It will store the value of end. Then I'll do array end equal to temp, right? And I'll increment my start and then decrement my end. So the rest of the array also gets swapped, right? So now we can display our array. So let us try to run this code. So let us take array of size 4. So this was my array, this was the sum of it, and this is my reversed array, right? So see, the display is still the same only. I'm not displaying from array dot length minus 1 to 0. I'm displaying from 0 to array dot length only, right? So that means my array value have changed, right? So let us see this. So initially the start was 0, right? Then what was the end? End was array dot length minus 1, which is 3 in our case, right? Basically, for reversing the array, I'm swapping these values. The first with the 10 and 40, then the 20 and 30. If my array was something like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my reverse array will be this 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right? So first I will swap these two values, the corner ones 1 and 6, then these values 2 and 5, then these values 3 and 4. Right? In this way I'll get the reversed array, right? So to do that, I'm maintaining two pointers. One is my start and one is my end. My start initially is 0. My end initially is array dot length minus 1. Then I'm swapping these values. I'm swapping these values using a third variable temp, right? And then I'm incrementing my start. My start was 0 here, right? Initially. And end was 5. I have swapped these values. Then I'm making start to 1 and decremented start to 4. Then again changing one I to start to 2 and end to 3, right? I'm swapping these values and I'm changing my pointers. I'm incrementing and decrementing them by 1 every time, right? Is this thing clear? Like it's very important to understand that what was wrong with that iterate the loop in the reverse direction. In that approach, we're printing the elements in a reverse way, but the array is not changing. The array is still the same, 10, 20, 30, 40. But now we have changed the array. Now my array is 40, 30, 20, and 10. Right? Is this thing clear, everyone? Yeah, like I'm reading the comments. Like, guys, if you have any queries, you can put them here. No, Lakshmi. For input 10, 20, 30, 40, reversing the array basically means 40, 30, 20, 10. The last element will become my first element. The second last element will become my second element. Rakesh, it does not matter. You can have any array. Let us suppose you have this array 5, 3, 1, 4. Okay. So the output for the reversed one will be 4, 1, 3, 5. Basically, reversing basically means that your last element is becoming your first element, right? The 4 was the last element, right? It became your first element. Your 1, the second last element, became your first element. The 3 became your third element. And this first element became your last element, right? Is this thing clear? What do we exactly mean by reversing the array? Now to reverse this array, 5, 3, 1, and 4. We will have one pointer here at the start and one pointer at the end, right? We will swap these values because this 4 is becoming my first element and this 5 is becoming my last element. So let's swap these values, 4 and 5, array start and array end. Okay, and then I'll increment my start and decrement my end because I have to also swap my 3 and 1 in the final output. My 1 will be at this first index and 3 will be at the second index, right? So I'll increment my start, decrement my end, and this everything is this while loop, right? So now your start will become 1 and end will become 2, and you will swap these values, right? So the final array will be 4, 1, 3, and 5, right? The while condition is to check while start is less than end. See, initially your start was 0 and end was 3. Let us see for this array only 5, 3, 1, and 4. Initially this was your start and this was your end. Then you swapped these values, right? After swapping, your array will become this 4, 3, 1, 5. The values at this 0 and the third index got swapped, right? Then you incremented your start. Now the start will become 1 and the end will become 2. Then you're checking while start is less than end. So your start is still less than end, right? Right? So now you will swap array start and array end, which is array 1 and array 2, right? Basically your start is here and end is here. So now you will swap these values. So now the array will be this 4, 1, 3, 5, right? And now your start will be 2. You will again increment your start and you will decrease your end. The end will be 1, right? Now, is my start less than end? No, the start has become greater than end. So now the while loop will not execute, right? You'll move out of this while loop. Got it? Yeah. So we're just iterating on the indexes. In the start is storing my first zeroth index. My end is the last index. I'm swapping the elements at my first and last index, and I'm increasing my start and decreasing my end. I'm swapping the elements while my start is less than end. Is this thing clear, everyone? Right? So this was the code for this. We have a start, we have an end, we are running a while loop, we are swapping these values using a temp variable, which we saw, right? And then we are incrementing the start and decrementing the end, right? So in this way, we will reverse our array and then we're printing the array. Lakshmi, the output will not be this. For the array 10, 20, 30, 40, the output will be 40, 30, 20, and 10. Reversing basically means the last element will become your first element, the second last element will become your second element, the third last element will become your third element, and the first element will become your last element. So the output you're writing is wrong. Okay, so this is the separate question, Lakshmi. We can maybe discuss this next time. Like, this question was for reversing the array. Okay, so like, I can also send you the link for the problems where you can submit these problems. Whatever we have discussed, like you can treat this as a homework problem, right? You're given an array n, you have to find sum of all elements in the array, average of all elements, and the maximum element in the array, right? So I can send the link of this in the chat, or maybe I'll share these links in the Discord. Okay, this problem, the array operations in this reverse array, we have done this iteratively. Okay, so let us see another problem to check if the array is increasing or not. Okay, so you're given an array with n positive integers, we have to check whether it is strictly increasing or not, right? Now what do we mean by strictly increasing? What do we mean by strictly increasing? Strictly increasing means that every element of my array has to be greater than the previous element. So let us take the example this 3, 7, 8, 9. Here, 7 is greater than 3, right? 8 is greater than 7, and 9 is greater than 7. So, this is an example of increasing array. Increasing, right? But if we take an example 3, 8, 7, 9, is this array increasing or not? This is not. Why? Because my 7 is less than my 8. Increasing basically means the ith element has to be strictly greater than the I minus 1th element. Let us see another example also. So is this increasing or not? This is not. Why? Because see, this 8 is equal to this previous element. For it to be increasing, this has to be strictly greater than the previous element. So this is an example of an increasing element, increasing array, because every element is greater than its previous element, right? So what we have to do is you'll be given an input array. You have to tell whether this array, you have to check array is increasing or not. So how we can do this question is, let us move to the terminal first. Like, is the question clear to everyone? Can you think of any approach that how we can do this problem, guys? Right. So how we can do? We can yeah, we'll check the current value and the previous index value, right? So let us maintain boolean. Boolean will tell me whether my array is in increasing order or not. Okay, I'll assume my array is increasing. Now what I'll do is, I'll run a for loop. I'll start from the first index, I'll go till the last one. If my array I is less than or equal to array I plus 1, array I minus 1, that means is increasing, is false. What has happened is the current element, you are at the ith element, right? And it is smaller than the previous element, the I minus 1th element. So my is increasing is false, right? The array is no longer increasing, right? So we can just write it if is increasing equal to. Else, if my is increasing is false, so that means it is not an increasing array, right? So let us try to run this code. Okay. So let us take an array of size. Okay. 5. Let us take the array 2, 4, 6, 10, and 12. So it is an increasing array, right? Because every element is greater than its previous element, right? Now let us take another example, which is not an increasing array. It is not an increasing array, right? Because 4 is greater than all of my 1, 2, and 3, right? So let us see how this code is working. So let us suppose we have this array 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. So I made a boolean is increasing, right? I initialized it with true. I'm running a for loop from I equal to 1 to I less than array dot length. What is my array dot length? It is 5. What is the index of my array? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Now what I will do is I'll run the for loop from I equal to 1. I'll run it till I is less than 5. So for initially I equal to 1, I will check if my array 0 is less than or equal to array 1. It is not, right? So my is increasing will be 2 only. Then I will get incremented to 2. I'll check if my array 2 is less than equal to array 1. It is still not, right? I'll again check for I equal to 3. Is my array 3 less than equal to array 2? It is not, right? The array 0 was 10, this was 20. These are false, right? So this if will not get executed, right? Then for the last I equal to 4, I will check is my array 4 less than equal to array 3? It is not, right? This is also false. So my is increasing will be true only, right? I initialize my is increasing to true and it is not going into any if statement, right? So is increasing will be true and I'll print it is increasing array. Let us see if my array is this 10, 20, 40, 30. For this example, first my is increasing will be true, right? I'll initialize it with true at the beginning of my code, right? Now my I will be 1. For I equal to 1, array 0 and array 1, they are 10 and 20, right? Is array 0 less than equal to array 1? It is not. So it will still be false. It will not go inside this if. Now I will check if my array 2 is less than equal to array 1. Array 2 is 40, right? And array 1, this is 20. Is it less? It is not. It is not, right? So this is also false. Now my array will be 3. For I equal to 3, I will check array 3 and array 2. What is my array 2 now? It is 40. So is my 30 less than equal to 40? It is, right? It is. So this if condition will work, right? So now my is increasing will become false, right? So now once this for loop is executed, I'll go inside this if condition, this else condition, right? And I'll print it is not increasing array, right? Is this thing clear? Right. So yeah, like guys, I think we have covered a lot of basic problems. So these problems should be enough to get you started with the arrays. So today we discuss the basics of the array. So we cover a lot more in depth about the arrays in our course, but for this class let's keep it till the basics only. Okay. I think in the live chat, the AccioJob guys have pinned this form, so you can fill that form for getting the certificate for this session. Okay, so you can fill out that form. Okay, do you guys have any queries? Like, did you understood everything? Is there any doubt or any questions you have? I'll be more than happy to answer. If you have any questions, you can write it in the chat box, guys. Manboth, I didn't got your question. Where is from? You can write your questions in the chat box, guys. How to take array as output? Here, Rakesh, we only take input in an array. If you have to print the array, we use a for loop for printing the array, right? We print it index by index. We first print the zeroth index element, then the first index element. Lakshmi, like, this is not a specific pattern which we're doing. So you can just directly hard code this. That array 0 equal to 40, array 1 equal to 10. Without for loop, is there any chance to take to print the elements of the array, Rakesh? We have to use a for loop, either a for loop or a while loop, right? You can, if you will only print ARR, so it will print the address of it, which we saw in the initially, right? Yeah. Any question for me? Yes, Manbodh. What is the doubt? So, Manbodh, whenever you're using a new keyword, this new keyword makes the array in the heap memory. Otherwise, it is always in the stack. How can I improve code quality? Yeah, like to improve the code quality, read lot of code from other people. Like there is a discuss section in the lead code, so read codes of other people. A lot of people had very good code there, so read codes of other people and understand things from there.